Seattle fans, buckle up, because the Seahawks just sent a message to the NFL that this team is not slowing down. The final roster cuts are in, and what happened today changes the entire story of this offense. Forget the doubt, forget the critics. Seattle is building something dangerous. For weeks, people have been asking, are the Seahawks ready? Do they have enough weapons around Geno Smith? Can young players really step up? And tonight, we got our answer. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, a veteran wide receiver who was brought in to compete, is gone. Cut. And that is actually great news for Seattle. Why? Because it proves that the young wideouts are rising fast. Torrey Horton and Derek Young didn't just make the roster, they forced the Seahawks' hand. They showed so much growth, so much potential, that the team had no choice but to move on from a proven veteran. That's how good they've looked. And don't forget Jake Bobo, a guy who's been grinding through camp after camp, stacking good days, building trust. Now, you can see it. His ceiling is climbing higher. When a team cuts a veteran, it usually means the young guys aren't ready. But here, it's the exact opposite. It means Seattle believes their future stars are already here, ready to play, ready to make noise. That's a huge sign of confidence in this offense. And the best part? Valdez-Scantling didn't sit around long. Another team scooped him up right away. That proves he can still play, which makes Seattle's move even clearer. This wasn't about him being washed up. It was about their young receivers being too good to keep off the field. This is a massive turning point for the Seahawks' offense, and it tells us they're betting on youth, speed, and potential over safety and experience. Now I want to hear from you. Do you trust Seattle's young receivers to step up this season? Rate your confidence in the Seahawks' wideout group from 1 to 10 in the comments below. The truth is this. Trading away DK Metcalf doesn't mean the Seahawks are giving up on having weapons. No, what it means is they're changing the way they attack. Because let's be honest, Metcalf had flashes of brilliance, but he never gave Seattle that every single week, unstoppable number one receiver they desperately needed. One game he'd look like the most dominant wideout in football, and then for the next 2 weeks, he'd disappear. That inconsistency crushed this offense. So instead of relying on one guy to be a superstar, the Seahawks are building a unit where every weapon matters. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Cooper Kupp, Elijah Ayo, A.J. Barner, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. It's not about one man carrying the load anymore. It's about spreading the ball, creating separation, keeping defenses guessing, and moving the chains again and again. That's how Seattle wants to win now, not by hoping one star shows up, but by unleashing waves of playmakers who can all hurt you. And honestly, this might be smarter. Defenses can't just double-team one guy anymore. Every player becomes a threat. And that means the Seahawks offense could finally find consistency instead of being stuck in an up-and-down roller coaster. Seattle is rewriting its identity. No more waiting on a superstar to show up. This time, it's about everyone eating together. Seahawks fans, do you think this new approach is smarter than relying on DK Metcalf as the number one? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you like spreading the ball around, or should Seattle still chase that true WR1? The front office just made a move that fans can't ignore. They signed a former NFL linebacker straight to the active roster. And let me tell you, this is not a small thing. Think about it. After going through weeks of camp, after cutting down the roster, after releasing guys who fought tooth and nail for a spot, the team turns around and says, "Wait, we've got our eyes on this guy." That tells you everything. It means the coaches already know him, they've studied his film, they've seen him on the field, and they believe he still has something left in the tank. He's not just another body. This is a player with real experience. Drafted in the 3rd round, spent time with the Vikings, Jets, and 49ers. Now at 28 years old, he's been through the wars of the NFL, and that kind of background means he's battle-tested. And here's the bigger point. When a team cuts players from their own roster just to sign someone from the outside, that shows confidence. It means the coach has looked at their depth and said, "We love the effort, but we think we've already seen the ceiling here. This new guy? We believe we can get more out of him." That's the mindset of building a winner, always chasing the upside. This is exactly what separates the good teams from the great ones. It's not just about loyalty, it's about belief in growth, in development, in squeezing every ounce of talent from the roster. And now, fans are left asking, could this linebacker be the spark this defense has been missing? What do you think? Smart roster move, or just another name on the list? Drop your take in the comments right now. Cooper Kupp is doing something that nobody expected. He's winning reps against Devin Witherspoon. Think about that for a second. Witherspoon is young, fast, and already one of the nastiest corners in the league. Yet Kupp, with all the miles on those hamstrings, is still finding ways to win. That tells you everything about who he is. The Rams knew exactly what they were doing. People doubted whether Kupp still had it, but this is a smart franchise. They weren't just bringing him in for nostalgia. They knew he could still ball. And you can see it in his eyes. He's not just out here to collect a paycheck. He's out here to prove a point. Remember 2021? That season wasn't just good, it was historic. Triple Crown winner. Super Bowl MVP. Nobody could stop him. Then came the injuries, the setbacks, the whispers that maybe it was over. 2022 was rough. 2023 didn't feel the same. 2024 was more of a grind. But now, you can see it. He's coming back with fire. He wants to beat his old team. He wants to remind the entire league that Cooper Kupp isn't done. Not even close. And here's what makes it even more dangerous. The Rams' young receivers are learning from him every single day. His routes, his patience, the way he sells defenders with just one step. That stuff rubs off. You can't measure it in stats, but you feel it in the way an offense plays. So, while the headlines might say aging receiver or injury concerns, what I see is a guy with pride, with something left in the tank, and with revenge on his mind. And that's the scariest kind of player to line up against. What do you think? Is Cooper Kupp still a top 10 receiver in this league? Or are we just holding onto memories of 2021? Drop your thoughts. I want to hear how confident you are in him this season. Most NFL teams barely have one quarterback they can trust. But the Lions? They're sitting on three. That's rare in today's league. Jared Goff is the leader, the starter, the guy who's carried this team to a whole new level. But behind him, there's Kyle Allen, a veteran who can step in and keep the offense alive. And then there's Hendon Hooker, the young gun with potential still waiting to be unlocked. That kind of depth doesn't just happen, it's a luxury. And here's the kicker. Those guys aren't just depth, they're assets. If Detroit wanted to, they could flip one for draft capital. A fifth or sixth rounder today is not what it used to be. Now those late round picks are gold, turning into real contributors across the league. This is how smart franchises stay strong for years. But even beyond quarterback depth, this roster checks the boxes. Skill positions? Loaded. Offensive line? Still the engine of this team. Defense? Getting tougher, faster, and smarter with every addition. And the secondary? Better than it's been in years, especially with veterans stepping in to guide the young talent. The Lions aren't just building for one run, they're building for a future where they'll always be in the fight. So here's the question for you. Do the Lions sit tight with their three quarterbacks, or do they cash in one of those pieces for draft picks?